A nice day. Today is Thursday, 23rd of November 2023. This day is celebrated as Fibonacci Day. Is observed on the 23rd November annually to honor one of the most influential mathematicians of the Middle Ages, namely Leonardo Bonacci. Let us read in detail about the day. National Espresso Day is annually celebrated on the same 23rd November in the United States to promote the powerful beverage. Also on the same day in 1924, the American astronomer Edwin Hubble's discovery that the Andromeda Nebula galaxy existed beyond the Milky Way was the first published in New York Times. Starting the newspaper analysis with the Hindu status that Israel officials say no Gaza pause hostage releases before Friday. Under the deal, Israel and Hamas agreed on the 4-day truce in the Gaza war, during which the Palestinian militants would free at least 50 of the hostages taken in their deadly attacks in series of daily batches. Palestinians wait before leaving northern Gaza through a humanitarian corridor amid the ongoing ground operation of the Israeli army against Palestinian Islamist group Hamas in the northern Gaza Strip. The Hindu newspaper also states that Uttarkashi tunnel collapse rescue operation in final stages. The 41 workers stuck in a collapsed tunnel in Uttarakhand's Silkyara are likely to see sunlight today. NDRF personnel enter the Silkyara tunnel as the operation to rescue 41 tribal workers intensifies in Uttarkashi on November 23, 2023. Going towards the Indian Express newspaper states that at a G20 meet, Prime Minister Modi says killing of innocent unacceptable. During a virtual summit, Russian President Putin says what is happening in Ukraine is undoubtedly a tragedy and that conflicts elsewhere, including the Gaza Strip, are also shocking. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses at the G20 virtual summit in New Delhi on November 22nd, 2023. Indian Express also states that in a farewell speech, a Chief Justice targets ex-Chief Justice of India, a judge the Supreme Court Collegium on his last day in office. Justice Divekar said he was elevated as a judge in Chhattisgarh High Court on March 31, 2009. I discharged my duties as a judge in Chhattisgarh High Court till October 2018 to the satisfaction of one and all, and particularly to the satisfaction of my own inner being, he said. Justice Divekar left and Justice Chaudhuri were referring to their transfers. Indian Express also states that 2 army captains among 4 soldiers killed in Jammu and Kashmir encounter. 1 militant was also reportedly killed in the encounter, though his body is yet to be recovered. Army personnel and local carry the body of an army officer near the site of an encounter with the terrorists at Kalakot area in Rajouri district Wednesday, November 2023. Indian Express also states that United States thwarted plot to kill Khalistan separatist Panwan, warned India, says report. SFJ's Panwan was target. A report for FTA India takes United States input seriously being examined, says MEA. Panwan, a dual citizen of United States and Canada, is the General Counsel for Sikh for Justice. Going towards the Hindustan Times newspaper states that disquiet simmers among voters who are exploited Aravallis. The Aravallis impact lie in between 80 and 90 assembly seats across a poll-bound Rajasthan. Right next to the village of Rela, in the newly carved Kotputli district in the Aravalli range, Rajasthan, a barren hill stands tall, a deep mining pit cutting through its base trails off into the distance. Inside, a bevy of heavy machinery is drilling through the tenuous slopes, and earth movers are loading stones into the tracks, dotting the trenches from this near unbreathably cloud of dust. These trucks emerge intimately stopping at a security gate for a brief minute before making their way on a sandy 2-lane road that leads to the state highway. Sometimes also states that promise of pre-poll freebies is corrupt practice under the Representation of the People Act, the Supreme Court told. The Supreme Court on Wednesday was told that a promise of pre-election freebies by political parties is corrupt practice and a bribe under the Representation of People Act. Supreme Court says. The Sun Times also states that calm winds at night mean air quality index poorest when kids go to school. The capital's air quality is at its worst every morning after a night of still winds, leaving children heading to school particularly vulnerable to a host of health hazards posed by noxious pollution levels. Shows data underscoring yet another impact of Delhi's annual smog emergency. Going towards the economy of the country from the business point of view, IMF, FSB, FATF to update G20 nations other on implementing roadmap for crypto assets, says Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. These are the initial days. You have the largest template flag points, so you are going to be able to get the template out for nations to decide how they want to have their own legislative framework and other things. So it will be too early. Maybe the early stage of the Brazilian presidency will come out with a bit more clarification, she said. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman says. Indian Express also states that from the business point of view, rupee volatility low exhibited orderly movement relative to peers. Reserve Bank of India Governor Shaktikant Das, speaking at the annual FIBAC event, thus said household inflation expectations are becoming more anchored, but added that headline inflation is vulnerable to recurring and overlapping food price shocks. Reserve Bank of India Governor Shaktikant Das on Wednesday said that the rupee has witnessed low volatility and orderly movements as compared to its peers, crediting Reserve Bank of India rates hikes, liquidity tightening moves, and supply side measures undertaken by the government for the headline consumer price inflation cooling off to 4.9% to October. Das stressed that the Reserve Bank of India completely focused on getting the headline inflation down to 4%. Will increase interest rates if cost of funds raises, State Bank of India chairman says. As per the recent State Bank of India research report, the banking industry will require rupees 84,000 crore of excess capital, or 5% increase on the rupees 15.2 lakh crore capital requirement following the Reserve Bank of India's decision to tighten the risk weights on unsecured loans. State Bank of India's chairman Dinesh Kharra on Wednesday said that the Reserve Bank of India moved to raise risk weights and consumer credit cards dues and lending to NBFCs may result in an increase in the interest rates by the bank. If all my costs of funds are going up, I will certainly increase the interest rates. RWA risk weighted assets means that the capital allocating goes up and there's capital costs. So naturally, it will have an impact on Kharra told reporters without qualifying the percentage increasing in the interest rates. Going towards the world news, including anti-Islam populist Geert Wilders heading for massive win in Netherlands in shock for Europe. A fighting car crashed at United States-Canada border, kills 2 terrorism ruled out. A killing of 4,000 Palestinian kids was not enough. Ex-Obama eyed hurls Islamophobic rant at vendor losses job. We must think how to stop that tragedy in Ukraine, Putin to G20 leaders. US FDA pulls up a Cipla for manufacturing lapses at a Pithampur plant. Prohibitory orders issued in parts of Nepal capital ahead of protests. Going towards the science and technology, James Webb Telescope reveals a stunning Milky Way features in a new image. The James Webb Space Telescope captured this stunning image that captures the Milky Way's center. The full view of the James Webb Space Telescope NIRCM near infrared camera instrument reveals a 50 light years wide portion of Milky Way's dense center and NASA ESA CSA STSCL Samuel Crowell. NASA may spend up to $1 billion to destroy the International Space Station. When the International Space Station's life comes to an end in 2023, there will be a complicated and expensive mission to deorbit it. A mosaic image of the International Space Station as pictured by a Crew Dragon spacecraft in 2021. Riot Games announces its first ever Valorant sports tournament in India. Top Valorant teams from around the world are coming to Bangalore for Convergence. Valorant's Convergence tournament is set to electrify Bangalore's sports scene. Last is a famous quotation by Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad, whose full name is Abdul Kalam Ghulam Muhyiddin Ahmed bin Khairuddin Al Hasni Azad, 11 November 1888 up to 22nd February 1958. Was an Indian activist, independence activist, writer, and a senior leader of the Indian National Congress. Following India's independence, he became the first Minister of Education in the Indian government. He is commonly remembered as the Maulana Azad. The word Maulana is the honorific meaning of master, and he had adopted Azad as his pen name. His contribution to the establishing the Education Foundation in India is recognized by celebrating his birthday as a National Education Day across the India. From Maulana Azad says a famous quotation. He says that slavery is first even if it bears beautiful names. Okay, thank you.